Hello everyone and welcome to this week's QuickTip tutorial. In this one I'm going to be showing you some ways you can go about creating a favorites feature for example, your extension. We're going to be taking a look at how other extensions do this as well as how I would do it to also support very complex projects. We're basically just going to be discussing the theory about how you can link a whole bunch of different elements with these favorite buttons which can be turned on and off to something practical which you can read and retrieve those favorites later on. Before we get started, I do want to remind you down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel, and down in the description you can follow me on GitHub for coding updates as well as Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of our Discord server, make sure you join to get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, expressions, submit tutorial ideas, hang out with members, and much more. And if you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so in the description by becoming a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP, which comes with cool perks like badges, Discord status, VIP streams, and much more. And also check out the links down below for Adobe, Exchange, AE Scripts, and Gumroad, where I post other products and tools. So let's go ahead and get started. Basically, we're going to first discuss a little bit of theory and then go over a little bit how we would implement a favorites feature. So I guess the best way to do this is honestly to use Paint to some degree. Basically what we have is in any given preset or pack of our extension, we have a sort of boxed area like this. This is what's going to contain all of our, previews, and each one of these green guys, which is not green, and each one of these green boxes here is essentially one of our presets or previews, and each one of these is then going to have a favorite applied to it. And this can be just basically an icon or basically an on and off switch, which detects whether the favorites are on or off. So if we want to, we can just make, like this one could be on, no fill, and these can be off. So now we have basically these presets, and some of them are turned off, and we can think of that as false, and some of them are going to be turned on, which we can think of as true. In the simplest of examples like this, we can represent all this using an array. For example, if we just had an extension with one set of things, or one set of presets, what we end up doing is essentially creating an array. In this case, say we have 5 elements. The first value is false because the favorite is not selected. The second value is also false because the favorite is not selected. And then we have 3 true values. And because of this, we know that in the order that these appear, we have a favorite turned off, favorite turned off, favorite turned on, favorite turned on, favorite turned on. And then anytime we change the settings or click on one of these, that can end up doing is allowing us to change what's inside of this. So I'll change this to no fill. Let's say we removed, or I guess we'd have to make the fill the same color as our background here. Let's say we then removed this favorite. This would then become a changed array, which starts with false, and it has that 4 times. You have to excuse my handwriting. Now this creates a changed array, which is going to change from false, false, true, true, true to false, false, true, false, true. And that's basically how we can read all the favorites that are being displayed and then update them. Whether we click on it, we just basically have to change the value that you're clicking on. If it detects that the image uses the on switched kind of image, make it true. If it detects that it uses the off switch or the off favorite image, set it to false. And then once the user clicks on sort of the grand favorites button that filters everything, what you end up doing is just removing all the elements which have this. And you can say, oh, this, we don't need that. It doesn't have an on switch. This is on, so we'll keep that. This is not on, so we'll undo that. And then we're left with our 2 last favorites. And that's basically the super basic way to go about it. You basically have an array of all of your elements with these favorite icons. You store an array of false and true values for each of them, whether the favorite is enabled or disabled. And then anytime you click on them to update it, you just update it to true or false. And then anytime you click on the master or the display all of your favorites button, you simply have to remove all of the elements that don't have the favorite enabled. This is great for more simple setups where you just have a few presets and a few packs. In this case, it's super easy to go through all of these presets and check if it's a favorite or not, because there's only a few of them. And then if you wanted to, you could run through all of these other presets and check if they have favorites enabled and load those in as well. The problem is when you get to something more complicated where you have upwards of maybe 100 different presets and each of these can have a favorite. Well, how do you keep track of it when you have a whole bunch of different packs as well as a ton of presets? Well, of course, this can be a time-consuming thing, but there is still a pretty simple method just using nested arrays. Going back to our example, we can now make it a little bit more complex. Let's say we now have actual categories that we want to load everything from. So we could have category 1, can have category 2, and category 3. Now we're going to have favorites in each one of these categories, and we want to basically have a nested loop to get through everything. Let's go ahead and create our little preset boxes. And once again, we have our preset boxes, and now these are just for one of our categories. We have a whole bunch more to go through. So we could say that essentially we have maybe category 1 is what is displayed, and these have not been accessed yet. Well, how do we store it when we have multiple categories and different presets inside of each of those categories? Let's say we have a bunch of favorites from each of these, and we want to load them all up. Well, the way we would do that in terms of storage is our array is then going to have basically the number of categories as the length of the array, and each index of the array is going to contain another array of all of these elements inside of here. So let's go ahead and try this. So we have category 1, category 2, and category 3. We're going to start off building this simply. So this is our whole array, which is going to contain all of our favorites data. You can store this in a file or whatever. And then each of these is the categories. So we have category 1, category 2, and category 3. Inside of each of these arrays is where we have all of our true, false, true, and those values. And then that then becomes, we have another array next to it, which maybe just has 2 presets, and then so on. So if you have categories and subcategories, you can continue to go down the rabbit hole of all these subarrays. You could even have, arrays within arrays within arrays, and have as many subcategories as you want. But that's sort of how you can do it with a simple one pack setup or just a single array of values. Or if you have a more complicated category setup, you can do this as well. And it's all working off of a system of essentially using true and false to represent true, this is a favorite and I want it to be my favorites, or false, I don't want this to be a favorite, and then adjusting those values when you hit the master favorites button, which only displays the favorites, and dealing with as much depth as your project or categories and presets have. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the thumbs up button down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel. And down in the description, you can follow me on GitHub for coding updates and check us out on Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of our Discord server, make sure you come and join to get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, submit tutorial ideas, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube and get cool perks, you can become a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP, link in the description. And also check out the links to AE Scripts, Gumroad, and Adobe Exchange, where I upload a lot of other cool tools and products. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.